Hey, what's up guys? Rob the Jeweler here. Today we're working on kind of a doozy of a ring here. We got a ring, it's a man's ring that needs to go up 4.5 sizes. That's a massive. And I'll flip this around and take a look at it. This is a huge friggin' ring. Take a look at that. It's missing stones. It's actually missing like 10 of them. But they don't want it. They don't want them replaced right now. They just want it sized. We went ahead and cut the shank on it. As you can see, it's a thick, wide shank. And we're sizing this thing up 4.5 sizes. It's a beautiful ring, but it's just with the way them stones are set in there, I almost wouldn't even replace them. They'll just keep falling out. But you know, that's kind of up to the individual. I mean, ain't nobody gonna see it except you, you know, when you're wearing it. And if they're that close to see them, then that's not what they got on their mind anyways. Alright, so we done already cut this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna file the sides down with our cutting disc. Let's go ahead and flop this around. You know what? I need to put a new cutting disc on here. I've been trying to put that off and put it off. Just being lazy. Gotta find my screwdriver here. Wherever it went to. There we go. See, as you can see for reference, this is what it should look like. This is what your cutting disc should look like. And this is what mine looks like. Big difference. So we're going to go ahead and flop that around now and be done with it. And we're going to have some channel lock pliers here. And basically this just unscrews from your mounting there. And you're going to want to get, if you're starting out, you're going to want to get a bunch of these. You're going to need a bunch of these because you're going to need one for like your cutting disc, your inside ring smoothers, your smoothers. So you're going to need to get a bunch of these. They're not very expensive. This way you can just swap them out as you need them. Otherwise, it's going to take you forever to have one of these and be swapping out every single one of the things you need to use. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and smooth these sides out on this ring. Basically what we want to do is make them flat and even. Okay, now this is part you gotta be careful. You got a lot of stones in here in the side, so you want to be easy going up to 12.5 because you're going a massive amount. You're going from here, to here. I mean, that is a big jump, and we're gonna have a big space that we're gonna have to put a piece of gold into. That is just massive. But that's okay. I've sized the ring up 7 sizes before, so 4.5 is nothing. But still, that is a good chunk size to have to size it. You know, most rings usually go 2.5 at most, but we're going 4.5 on this one. We're going from 8 to 12.5. So 4.5 sizes. And you can see that we got it where we need it. You see how big? That's how big of a gap we need to put in there. Or piece we need to put in there. Not gap. And we got our piece of gold right here. It's same width, thickness. And what you're going to do is you're going to measure it into that group. You're going to measure it from one end to the other, and you're going to mark it and then cut that piece off. And then we're going to stick it in. We're going to cut grooves on the side and then stick it in. So I'll show you here in just a second. So what we're going to do is you're going to put the piece in the middle. You're going to mark on your piece that you put in where you need to cut it off at. You could use it with your anything. You could use a pair of scissors, or I'm using the marking for sizing rings down to make a line. Okay, then you take your piece where you marked it and then go ahead and cut it off where you need to cut it off. We're going to use our cutters. And the piece went flying. Take your extra piece, put it back with your gold. Let's find out where my piece went that we cut off. There we go. So now what we're going to do, we got our piece. What we're going to do is we're going to file it. We're going to file each side down, and then we're going to cut a groove in each side so that it locks into the ring better. So you're going to want to get some like channel locks to kind of hold it in place. Smooth out the sides. And then cut a groove into it. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, then we're going to see if we can get this to lock in to the middle here of our piece. We actually need to open it up a little more, unfortunately. Now you want the piece to sit in there without much pressure against the piece. So you want this ring to open up wide enough to where it just sits in there and there's not a whole lot of pressure on it, because if it's been sized before, if you got pressure on that piece, when you go to size it, heat it up, if it's been welded or soldered somewhere else before, where it was soldered or welded before, because of that pressure against the piece, it will buckle or fly out. So you want the piece to just sit in there without much pressure on it. If it's got any pressure, you need to open the ring up more. We need to smooth this one side out a little more. All right, let's see if it'll lock in now. No, don't really want to lock in, does it? I think that might work. Maybe. Nah. I want to make sure this piece locks in the way it needs to, because if not, it'll just fly out. You need it to lock in some capacity. Let me cut a little bit more of a groove into this. And there's no editing on these videos, so you're seeing it all hand first. So any mistakes that are made, any redos we got to do, you see it. We're not going to cut and edit and make it look like, oh, here you go, it's a 10-minute process, here you go. Doesn't quite work that way. Okay, we got our piece in there. We're going to go ahead and dip it in our boric acid denatured alcohol mix. Okay. And I got something in my eye. I think it's a piece of metal. I'm kind of used to that though. Trust me, I've burned myself, cut myself. You name it, I've done it. Let's go ahead and light this baby up. Set her on fire. Okay, let's go ahead and get our flux. Go ahead and flux this bad boy. Then we're going to grab our solder. Now this is a really thick, wide piece, so we're gonna use 2 pieces of solder on each side, just because one piece isn't going to fill up the gap. And remember, we're using the same carat as what's on the ring, which in this case is 10 carat. And we're using hard solder. I use hard solder for everything. And actually, I know they have easy and medium, and when you're starting out, it might be good to use, but I think it becomes a crutch. I think you should start out with hard. You start out with hard, it kind of makes it easier to be able to use hard on everything else. But if you get used to using easy or medium solder on smaller items like chains and stuff, or even rings, then it kind of becomes a crutch. So I kind of recommend starting out with hard. I mean, I know it seems counterintuitive, but it will work out better in the long run. Hard solder's just that, it's harder and just holds up better than easy or medium. And you won't have customers coming back quite as often, but you'll have better repair work and they'll want to come back. So what we're doing is we heat up our solder. We're trying to get it to flow on one side here. I don't have much pressure on it, so we're hoping that, I'm pretty sure this has been sized before, so I'm hoping the piece don't bend or blow out. That would be bad. Need a bigger flame here. Come on, baby. Flow through. Alright. Our solder has flown through. Okay, now let's do the other side. All right, got both sides flown. Let's take a look and see, make sure it pulled all the way through. You always want to check the bottom just to make sure that it's went all the way through, which it looks, in this case, it has. So, I'm gonna be back just a second. I need to check something real quick. Okay, I'm back. Okay, yep, our solder has pulled through. I'm gonna let this cool off a little bit. I could dump it into water to cool it off because it is mostly diamonds, but this has so many stones, you never know if somebody replaced it with CZs or anything like that. So you don't want to quench it just in case, because it'll shatter the CZs if there is any CZs in there, and you definitely don't want that. So we're going to try to cool this off with the fan. That's what I'm circling around here. I got it in front of a fan that I got on my desk here, help cool it off a little quicker. All right, let's stick it on the mandrel here, see what we're working with. Now we're going to be very careful with this because unfortunately this ring has hollow sides. It's not they're not solid all the way around. As a matter of fact, it's the only place it's solid is on the bottom. So we're going to use a rubber mallet first to kind of round this out a little bit. Rubber mallet, you still want to tap lightly. Okay, then we're going to go to our regular ball peen hammer, but like I said, we want to be careful. We only want to tap on the bottom because that's the only place that it's solid. You hit the sides, they're hollow with this, it's going to crush them immediately. And the thing is you want to just get it close. You want it to be about a half size, probably more like a quarter size above 12.5. So we're going for 12.5. So we're going to want it to be probably about a 12.25, because by the time we file it down and everything, that quarter size will probably come out and it'll probably sit right at a 12.5. If you get it to a 12.5 and then file it down, polish it and everything, it's probably going to be bigger than a 12.5. Okay, we're getting there. I'm just rounding it out right now. That's all I'm doing right now. Just rounding this bad boy out. Get it as close to a 12.5 as we can. Okay, we're almost at about 12.25. Almost where we need to be. This guy's got some big fingers. This is 12.5 for his pinky. So you can only imagine his middle finger and his ring finger probably like 15, 16. If I had to guess. Okay. Alright, we're getting pretty close here. Pretty close. Almost 12 and a half. Almost there. Okay, we're pretty close. I'm going to flip this around for you. You can see I got that piece welded in there. You can see it right here and here. Still got a lot of work to do, but you can see we got it in there. It's welded. See if we can get a shot on the inside. You can see the inside is welded, all pulled all the way through. And we're gonna clean this up a little bit in a second. We're getting it close to 12 and a half. We about got it rounded out. Do a little more tapping here. Almost to 12 and a half, and you want to make sure it's the same. You want to flip the ring around after you tap, because you want it to sit on the same size on both sides. It's about a 12 and a half. It's close. We're getting close. Okay, I'm going to break the rock out. We're going to file down the inside and the outsides of the ring. So we're going to file down the inside and the outsides here. Okay, we're still filing down the insides and outside here. Okay. I'm going to switch rocks here for a second. Get a little more aggressive one for the top here. One a little bit more aggressive. Just because this is a wide chink and thick at that. There we go. Now we're making some headway. Alright. Now we're going to file the sides down just a little bit. We're just going to get it closed. And then we're going to use the actual file to do the rest. Okay, I think we're going to switch back to our inside rock grinder here. And let's see where we're sitting at right now. About right at a 12.5. Yep, we're going to be dead on the money by the time we're done filing it and everything. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get our wedge to put this on sideways and file the sides down until they're even and you shouldn't see any line. Then remember, single strokes, just forward. You don't want to do this because you'll just cut it. You'll make a groove right into the side of it. Okay, let's fix the inside a little bit here. Alright, let's file the other side down. Okay, we're almost where we want to be. Okay. Alright, then we want to take the file and kind of do the top here. Kind of round out these rough corners where we put the piece in at. Kind of slowly go over the top in one stroke motions. Don't want to go back and forth. Then a couple times like this. And trust me, you don't have to do it hard. You'll be surprised how fast it files down. Alright, we're going to switch to our inside ring smoother. And then we're going to do our outside ring smoother. Remember, this is just kind of like a rubber wheel that fine polishes, gets all the scratches out that we've made and everything. we're going to switch to our outside ring smoother here. What we're doing, we're just smoothing out the outside of the ring and the sides right now. We're still filing it down. It takes a little bit longer on this one because it's so wide and thick. So it takes a little bit longer. We're almost done, guys. guys. Now we're going to check the size again one more time here. 12 and a half. 12 and a half on the freaking money. Alright guys, let's show you what we got. So now you can see we got this thing polished up, cleaned up pretty much. Got the piece blended in. We have no lines on the side. There is, now this was already there before it started, but you see these pits on the side. I'm going to work on that just a little bit more. Get those out of there as best I can. You can't get them completely out there because since the sides are hollow, they've been crushed in. If you try to file it down, by the time you get it filed down, you'll then just have a hole in the side. So if you got hollow sides like that and they're crushed in, it's not really a whole lot you can do about it. You can fill the sides in, but the customer did, I explained that to them. The customer didn't want to fill them in, so we're just going to make them look the best we can. You know what? I'm going to try something here. I usually don't do this, but I think we're going to take a rock and see if we can file that down and get that to a minimum so we can't really see the sides caved in where the hollow piece on the sides are. You know, that might have worked out in our favor. Might have. We're going to smooth this out and we'll be able to tell in a second here. Alright, I think that's going to be about the best we can get to the side. Without actually having to fill them in. Better. Still there, but not quite as pronounced. And like I said, those were there prior. I'll let the customer know, but they didn't really want the sides filled in. So that's the way it's going to stay, I guess. But we got our piece in, we got it filed down, got it kind of cleaned up, and we're down to, or we're from a 8 to a 12.5, so we went 4.5 sizes. But we're going to go polish this thing up, and then we'll be back. Alright guys, we're back with that ring. As you can see, we got it all polished up. Can't tell where the piece was. Still got the sides that are kind of pushed in, but the customer didn't want that fixed. They just wanted it sized. It's missing some stones too. They didn't want those replaced either. So that's a good looking piece otherwise. And we sized this up from an 8 to a 12.5. So we sized it up 4 sizes. So this is Rob the Jeweler. And if you want to see your ring or your jewelry be fixed by me, might do a video on it. You can send it to us at Robert's Jewelry Repair on Etsy.com. And this is Rob the Jeweler. And I'll see you on the next one.